Hey guys, glad to stop by. Sorry I'm parched. Yeah, but so for Valentine's we did a bunch of chocolate covered all kinds of stuff, and I ended up with an overabundance of strawberries. And you ask yourself, what do you do with strawberries? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do part of it. We are going to make a strawberry bread. That solves two problems. A, what to do with some of the strawberries, and let's make a bread. I haven't made a dessert bread and I can't tell you how long. And it sounds really good. This strawberry bread has a strawberry vanilla glaze that's going to go on top of it. So it screams unhealthy, tender, and delicious. I think that's the way it's going to be. And the remainder of the strawberries, if I have enough, I am going to do some strawberry jam. If that's something you would like to see in a video, let me know. And I can do that. I'll probably end up doing it anyhow, but yeah, I'll post it if that's something you want to see, because it's really fun to make. I mean, I cheat a little. We can do it the old school way. I have a recipe for the old school way. We've been doing our own jams forever. But I also have a ball jam maker that is so awesome that we may do some of that too, unless I have a video for it. I don't know. But anyhow, let me know. If you're new to my channel and this is your first video, thanks for stopping by. I hope you get something out of this video. I hope you check out some of my other videos. We do a whole lot of baking, a whole lot of cooking, a whole lot of conversation, and have a good time with it. If you're returning or one of our new subscribers, thank you and welcome back. The comments, always welcome. Love comments. I'll ask you to be civil. It's okay to disagree. Just think before you type. Thumbs up, thumbs down are awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. I guess that would go with the thumbs up, thumbs down. And I believe that's it. So, that being said, I will give you all your measurements in tablespoons, teaspoons, cups. I also do grams and milliliters. That way everybody can play along. You know, that's important, right? It's all part of being a good neighbor in a neighborhood and communication for everybody, right? Something we're lacking in my opinion, along with a couple other things in the world. But anyhow, that being said, let's hop on down here to the counter and we'll get started making this bread. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the counter. Now, some things you'll need. I'm probably overkilling it with the mixer, but you're gonna at least need 2 bowls, a spoon, or your hand mixer, or your stand mixer. Either way it goes, I'm using my stand mixer because I have one and I might as well make the most of it, right? Get your money's worth. So, next thing you'll need, other than that couple of bowls and a spoon or a mixer of some sort, a mixing apparatus, is you will need a recipe. I have one written down right here on the other side of this mixer. Right here. Last but not least, you will need a pan, a bread pan, because dessert breads look like bread and you need a loaf pan. This is a 5x9 loaf pan. Now, I want to show you something. See how that's got a nice sheen to it, like a copper look or a burnt look? If you've been following me for a while, a couple times I've made bread and I've told you, even in regular pans, if you have a non-stick pan, which this is, kind of was, you don't want to use cooking spray in it. This is what happens, and it doesn't come off. It will come off, but if it comes off, so does your non-stick. So if you have a non-stick pan, butter. That's really it. Butter, maybe some flour. And then the bottom of this one in particular, I have a parchment paper. That way I can just run something along the sides to get the bread loose, and I know it's going to pop out because I have parchment paper. So, and I have set my oven at 350 degrees because, well, we're working on it anyway. I just turned it on, which is what you would do if you were just getting started. So we're going to do our dry ingredients first, and this is really easy. In my small bowl here, I have got 2 cups, 260 grams of all-purpose flour, just regular old flour. To this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons, 8 grams of baking powder. We'll get that in there. And then I have got a half a teaspoon, 2 grams of kosher salt. We're gonna throw that in there. And then I am going to grab a whisk real quick because I forgot to grab one earlier. Grab a whisk and we will just mix this together. Just like such, right? And then once we get that mixed together and looking good, we can set that to the side. And the next thing we're gonna do is our wet ingredients. I mean, really, this is just this quick because it's a dump recipe. So in this bowl with the mixer, I have got 3/4 cup, 150 grams of just regular old all-purpose sugar, white sugar. I have got, and then to that, we are going to add 1 egg, large, 50 grams. I am going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla at 4 grams. It's just regular old vanilla extract. It's baking extract. There's a difference. I have got a half a cup, 125 milliliters of whole milk, room temperature. Everything should be at room temperature. Now room temperature, leave it set out for about a half hour, 45 minutes. The egg is room temperature, the milk is room temperature. That's the only thing you have to let sit out to get up to temperature. And then I've also got a half a cup, 125 milliliters of vegetable oil. Now you can also, you can use any oil you have, but you want to make sure it is it's not a heavy flavored oil. You know, so like a canola or something of that nature. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to combine this all together, mix it on medium for about a minute or two. We want to get that egg broken up and get everything combined. All right, we got that mixed up. Now you don't want to go blast in your mixer. Remember, you can mix this with a spoon too, so we're not going fast by any means. And we don't want to incorporate a ton of air into this. It's bread, you know, so you want some air, but not a lot of air. But we got that combined. So the next thing we need to do is take our dry goods. We're gonna put that in there. Yes. Excellent. And we're just going to mix this, number 2, number 3, medium low, until it's just combined. We don't want to overmix it. We don't want to get those glutens excited that's in the flour. All right, we are just combined. Nothing fancy, but it's all wet. That's what we're looking for. We were looking to get our dry ingredients wet. Yeah, like I said, you don't want to excite all the glutens in the flour. Glutens have a tendency they'll fight you. Yeah, that's why, like when you make breads or things like that, you let them rest, you know, or cookie dough. Yeah, once you get done working that cookie dough out, you know, with all that flour and the butter, and you put it in the fridge and just let it rest. Not only does it harden up the butter, but it lets those glutens calm down. They were excited, and that way you don't have snap back. You know, so like when you roll out your dough, it doesn't, you know, try to go back to its original form. So we'll go ahead and give this a quick wipe down. We got one more ingredient to put in here, and that's it. Awesome, isn't it? Which is why you want to make sure you have your oven going when you start this. So our last ingredient is 2 cups, 322 grams, I'm sorry, 330 grams of diced strawberries. And they're just, you know, not finely diced, just diced. Dice them as big or as little as you want. And we're gonna put these in here, just like such. Get them all in there. We don't want to leave any of these bad boys behind. You know, then I'll sit here and eat them, which isn't bad. Strawberries aren't horrible for you. You're like, Brian, they're sugary. They do have a natural sweetness, but your body knows how to process that sweetness. It's the aftermarket sweetnesses, high fructose corn syrup, things like that, they get you. All right, so we're not gonna mix those in, we're gonna fold them in, just like this. All right, we got that folded in, and I'm gonna get some of this stuff out of the way real quick. That, you know what just hit me? I got a pan in the oven. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so I got the pan out of the oven, and I got my mixer set off to the side so that way we have a little room here. And right here is our batter, right? Nice and stirred. It's just like any other dessert bread batter. It's fairly thick. It holds up on its own. Our strawberries are fairly evenly distributed. One thing I didn't do that you could do, and I even set the flour out to it to show you, but I didn't demonstrate it. Before you put your strawberries in here, put 2 tablespoons of flour on it. All that does is coat the strawberries and it keeps them from falling to the bottom. I am not going to sweat it. Matter of fact, I can't recall a time I've ever actually done that with any of my berries, and they've always turned out just fine and evenly spaced. But it is a good thing to do. All the same, I'm not knocking it. It's not something I normally do, and I overlooked it. But you just want to toss your berries in that 2 tablespoons, 30 grams of flour, if you so desire, because it can fall to the bottom. So we'll go ahead and get our strawberries and our batter in our pan. Okay, so we got our batter in the pan, and we want to even it out. Just like such. You can use an offset spatula, you can use a spoon, you can use the rubber spatula that you use to get it in there with, which is what I'm doing. You know, however you like to do it. Yeah, that's whatever you have available. Although if you don't have an offset spatula, really, you should probably invest in one if you want to do any kind of baking. They do make the world a better place. All right, so we got that like that. And now all we have left to do is put her in the oven, right? Which is what I'm getting ready to do right now. So what we'll do now is we'll get her in the oven, just like such. And I'm gonna set the timer. I'm gonna set this timer for 50 minutes. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bake this at our 350 degrees for 50 to 55 minutes, or until a toothpick comes out clean. Yeah, well, with crumb. Just like a cake, just like brownies, just like anything else we bake that we toothpick test. It should come out with just a little bit of clean crumb. If it's got batter on it still, you need to go a little longer. And I would say do like 2 to 3 minutes at a time, maybe even 4. And here's why I say that large amount of time. Remember, you're gonna open up your door and have it open for a minute, which is gonna let some of that heat out, which it has to recover that. So, you know, let it go through, you know, about 3 minutes at a time if it's not done at that 50 to 55 minute mark. All right, so when I come back, we'll pull her out of the oven and talk about what we need to do next. Okay, so we just got her out of the oven. So we'll go ahead and hand it in a toothpick. And we're gonna stick her right in the center as far as we can go. It's got a nice crisp top on it. And pull it out. And we are good. If anything, we're probably a little too good. There's hardly any crumb on there, but that's all right. That's all right. So I did 50 minutes at first. When I looked at it at 50 minutes, just grabbed that with my bare hand so I could take a few days off. But if you look right in here, see how it's cracked? That was still wet looking at 50 minutes. So I went ahead and did 3 minutes. It looked a little better, but still had a little bit of shine right down the center. So I did an additional 2 minutes. When I took it out, it was dry, and here we are. Now, what are we gonna do? We're gonna let this sit for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes is up, we'll go ahead and take it out of the pan. Okay, so our 10 minutes is up. I'm gonna go ahead and take my handy dandy spatula here and run it down the sides. So that way I know we're completely free of the sides. And now the moment of truth is upon us. And I'm gonna pop that out. Oh, it looks beautiful. It actually doesn't feel, I mean, it's warm, but it's not horrible. But I don't recommend doing this at home. If you have a hot pad that you trust to touch your bread, I would almost do that. I'm not setting a very good example by doing it that way. But, ooh, bottom's not so into it, so to speak. There we go. Sorry about that. I had to yeah, all my Google stuff popped up on my computer down here. And I couldn't see you. I'm sure you could see me, but I couldn't see you. So anyhow, what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna let you take a gander at our creation right there with some really bad lighting, but it looks fantastic. And we're gonna let this cool down to room temperature. So when I come back, we'll go ahead and whip up the glaze that goes on that, and it will be cooled down. And after we put the glaze on it, we can try some. So I'll see you here in just 1 second. All right, we are cooled, and well, we're not cooled completely. It's a little warm, but that's okay. I don't mind. We're gonna go ahead and make this glaze. I want to try it a little warm anyhow. But in this bowl, I have 2 cups of powdered sugar, confectioner sugar, 250 milligrams, or 250 milligrams. And to this, now I have 3 tablespoons of whole milk right here. It's 45 milliliters, just in case we need it. But I'm going to start off with 2 tablespoons, 28 grams of melted butter, unsalted melted butter. Now, if you have salted, I suppose you could use it, but I'm running with unsalted. And I'm going to simply take a fork, and I'm going to start combining these two to make our icing. And if it's too thick or I need to add something to it, I can add this this milk to it. All right, so I got it mixed up, and I did end up using the 4 tablespoons of milk to go in there. You can also use heavy cream if you want, or I mean, if you're in a pinch, water. So the last thing I need to add to this is I have got a 1/3 cup of finely diced strawberry at 60 grams. I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna get all that in there. Now remember, these have got a little bit of juice in them still because they're fresh, and so they're going to loosen this up, though they should loosen this up just a little bit, but if not, that's okay. Now on that same note, if you wanted to, you could just as easily add more milk to this and make it very pourable, like a pourable ice, you know, like a glaze, which would be outstanding in and of itself. I have one more ingredient to add to this. It just hit me. It takes a 1/2 teaspoon, 2 grams of vanilla, which I forgot to do, so we'll do a liberal 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. I'll put that in there, get that mixed in, and that's it. That is our icing right there. So we get that mixed in, and then we can just put it on our bread and try a piece. Okay, so we got our mixed up, looking good, and all we gotta do is take our spatula here, and you can put as little or as much as you want on it. Save some for the sides, so you can put it on your piece, you know, however you want to work it. I, on the other hand, I'm gonna put this on fairly liberally, let it run down the sides. This is actually kind of a surprise. Our oldest, Taylor, she had shared this on Facebook with Chris, who then shared it with me, and I think it was a hint that she would like for me to make this. That strawberry is like her second favorite food group, so I thought, let's make it. That sounds fun. Once again, yeah, we had plenty of strawberries left over. Didn't want them to go bad. Could freeze them, I suppose, but why do that when we can make a luscious bread, right? All right, we are in good shape. Look at that. I know it looks a hot mess rolling down the side, but you know what? That's all right. That is all right. You know what that says to me? Yum. That's a slightly unhealthy. That's what that says to me, really. All right, let me find something to cut this with real quick. All right, we'll try a good old-fashioned butter knife. Why not? Let's live on the edge. Oh. Look, you know bread is moist when you can cut it with a butter knife, right? I know, not very professional of me. That's alright. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. So, as you can see, the strawberries did not all fall to the bottom, even though we did not use the flour to coat the strawberries with. And even if we take a look at the piece here that I cut, nothing missing, right? It's nice and evenly dispersed. But that's all right. We are going to give this a try and see if we did it justice, right? But what I am going to do, I'm going to be a little sneaky, because I know there's this icing on the side right here. I'm going to take some of it off and put it on the top, because why not? I'm not going to tell you that I licked the fork that I put the or stirred the icing up with, but I may have. Let's give this bad boy a try, see how she tastes, because I'm here to tell you, it smells good, it looks good. All that's left is to see how it tastes, right? We're 2/3 of the way there. That, my friends, is a lovely little piece of dessert bread. I'm here to tell you what. Oh yeah. Yeah. That is perfectly moist. And I knew it would because of the oil. Oil keeps, oil will make everything moist. You know, your egg is, you know, helps give it lift along with that baking soda. And it acts as a binder. Your oil keeps it moist. Instead of using butter, butter will keep it moist until you put it in the fridge. Or it gets back up to room temperature, and then it gives it some firmness. I mean, think about it. Butter's firm, oil isn't. That is super moist. And I know even if I kept this in the fridge, it would stay moist. Now, that icing will form a shell on it, and that will help keep things together. I'm gonna say you can keep this at room temperature. There's absolutely no reason why you can't. I don't think it'll last that long if you're gonna eat it in the next couple, 2-3 days. If not, I would probably stick it in the fridge after the end of the day, so to speak, just to keep it going, but definitely keep it covered. Airtight container, all that good stuff. But I honestly don't think, especially if you're having people over or family, whatever, it's not gonna make it through dessert. That is an amazing little piece of work right there. I am thoroughly enjoying this. I'm gonna have another slice as I finish this one. If you try this, let me know. I'd like to know what your opinion is on it, because I don't think you'll be disappointed by any stretch of the imagination. You know, hands down. So next week for dinner and dessert, I got a few ideas running in my head. If you have any ideas, let me know. Either in the comments down below or, you know, on Facebook, Instagram, you know, either page on Facebook, my page, the group page, if you can get it to load. For whatever reason, the group page is really struggling to let people load things on it. I'll figure it out eventually, I promise. But you at least tell me about it. Maybe I'll find a recipe and work it out. But that being said, till next week, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and that you love them very much. They may need to hear it. You know, it probably will something they need to hear, and it's gonna make them smile. It's gonna make you feel good to tell them. You know, I guarantee it. You know, it does me. That's a good thing to do. You make them some of this strawberry bread. Now I'm here to tell you what, they are gonna be grinning ear to ear. It's gonna lead to conversation and maybe a cup of coffee and a long visit, or a glass of milk and a long visit, depending on who you are. it's gonna lead to a good time. So, anyhow, until next week, when I see you again, I love you. See you later. Bye bye.